Hi, I'm Andy, and welcome to Bry Farm. Now I've just taken over this farm, and in order for me to turn over the rented land to my land, I need to grow some grass. So I planted some alfalfa. And it's growing, but the weeds are starting to take over. So I need to trim those weeds and take the tops off the plants to give them a head start. In order to do that, I must use this Haybine here, and I don't know a thing about it. So come with me, we'll take a walk around and see what we can figure out. Okay, so we just got this machine down the road, and it's a New Holland 492. So what I gather that takes is this is an independent head, a floating head, meaning that it's not attached to the body, so it has a little more agility going through the field. So we'll start off on the left-hand side here, work our way through. So we got a little scratchy scratch here. Otherwise, no rust. Looks like it was well taken care of, or maybe a relatively new machine. We got a main roller bearing here, another main rolling bearing here. Here's a handle, a crank. What's this say? Adjustment to increase roll pressure. So obviously before I start up this machine, I'm going to take off the pressure as much as I can, and that'll be a good starting point. So I'm looking for grease zerks and that kind of thing. And right now I'm just seeing that these bearings, they seem to be sealed. There's no zerks on them, no grease coming out. Got the sickle bar. Hi, Tom. Sickle bar coming through here on this side. Got a guard with an opening. Oh, there's a grease zerk right there. So we'll have to grease that, and that looks like that's for this roller bearing. And we got the sickle bar. So far we got all the teeth, all the guards. So looks a little rusty, hasn't been used for a few years. So we'll oil that up as we slowly turn the PTO shaft and get some movement in this machine for the first time. Inspecting the roller here, kind of notice a flat spot. Kind of looks like it's part of the design, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Doesn't look like it was banged or dented. Hydraulic lines. So we got two ends, 3 ends. So we need 3 ports. Oh, 4. So that's telling me we kind of have 2 cylinders. Let's see where these end up. Okay, so we have 1 cylinder here. And that looks like it's in charge of the swing arm here. So the old days you had to pull a pin held in this hole for travel, and then you had your field adjustments here, and the pin would lock in there. But this one seems to be hydraulic, so we don't have to worry about pulling a pin from the tractor. We can have that control right from the cockpit of the tractor. So that seems like a good option. So let's take a look at this cover. And then there's a gearbox. I see a grease zerk right off the top in there. There's probably a oil reservoir, so we'll check this out. There might be some gears in here, so we'll see if there's a level check, and if we can check if there's oil, if there's even oil in there. I don't know. Okay, we have another access back here. Okay, so here's a better view. So this is what I'm talking about before. So we have an entry point for pour. It's probably got a dipstick on it, and then we got either a level indicator. So we'll pull that screw out once we put the hydraulic fluid in. When it starts coming out, we'll put that back in, and that's the level amount. And it looks like we also have a reservoir here. Okay, shaft coming out. We got grease zerk here, so we'll have to grease that. And we got lots of grease zerks in here with universal joints and bearings up front. So got a lot of places to grease in here. There's another reservoir in here, so we'll check that out. And this looks like a travel safety. So when you're traveling, here's the other cylinder, by the way. So this cylinder adjusts the height of the head with the wheels, and this is a lock. So when you're traveling, you lock it in. When you're working in the field, it'll be able to go up and down in this. And then this pin here just basically keeps that shaft on one side or the other. Okay, we also have another adjustment here. I think that's for your windrow size. So we'll take a look inside and see how that operates. So that's this deflector plate, it looks like. Maybe when you throw it on the ground it's wider, and then as you raise it up higher it gets more confined to this funnel here. So the more it's up, the more the thinner your row will become, and maybe more condensed. Okay, tires, well, they ain't brand new. A little bit of cracking on the side, but they're holding there. I pumped them up before I could move it. They weren't right flat, but they only had about 10 pounds of pressure in them. So another logo up here. Of course, it's under a good pile of dust. It's been a while, but it is dry. Doesn't look like any water was over the years dripping on it. And looks to be relatively very good shape. A little weathered. It probably was stored outside at one time for a little bit. Dig into this. See how far we get. But first I'm going to move it into the clear so I can get it out with the tractor. So I had the baler in front of it, so I just pushed the baler back, and we'll just maneuver this machine out and put it in line so we can pull it out with the tractor. I got some free tools with this rig too. So we got the old ball peen hammer, slightly cracked. A 1/2 inch socket driver. The old trusty small vice grips, missing its adjustment screw. Another Tanya Harding, a clawless type though. Good old adjustable wrench, good score. Oh, that'll go in our vice grip. So we'll try and find where that was. And we got another wrench, 7/16. Yeah, so not too bad. I was expecting a whole bunch of spare parts, but obviously there is none, so we should be able to start cutting grass with these tools. So my first plan of attack is I'm going to attach the PTO end, grease that up before I put it in, and we're just going to try and rotate the machine, see if everything's moving, and pick out if there's some major problems right to start off with. Look at that green field, just rolling green. Nice. Okay, today we're doing the next day analysis of our cutting. So as you can see in the background, the field is all cut down. So we can see the cut up weeds and then the alfalfa. So now the alfalfa is getting full sunlight, and we also got a rain yesterday, and just a few small weeds remain. So the blue flowers there, that's the alfalfa. Could have probably trimmed it a little bit lower, but I'm pretty happy with this result. We trimmed down the weeds, and the alfalfa has a good chance of growing in and cutting out the weeds now.